like a plane crash.
Hey, Beth, what is that? Somebody hit the World Trade Center or the...
It's a Trade Center.
The World Trade Center.
Number 2.
Yeah. This just in, you were looking at obviously very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed.
As we go now, we have serious news of a major, very tragic event for you right now. Incredible plane crash into the World Trade Center.
I just heard a loud boom.
I saw that actually.
You did? Was it a plane? That's what I was thinking. It was a terrorist attack.
Immediately, there's speculation or cause for concern. This is the World Trade Center that was the center of a terrorist bombing some years ago. So the questions have to be asked, was this purely an accident or could this have been an intentional act? But either way...
Looks like 6, 7 floors were taken out. And there's more explosions right now. Hold on, people are running.
Hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion inside.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll tell you what's going on.
Right, oh my God, another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
It was a great place to grow up. Literally right in front of our windows was the World Trade Center. My whole life, I really enjoyed the World Trade Center. I enjoyed looking at it. I love them at night, just seeing the patterns of the windows. And some offices, a whole floor would be lit up, and then other floors would just have a couple of lights here and there. I never, ever thought something would happen. There was no fear whatsoever. I went to my first class. It must have been about 9:15 at this point, and my teacher told us, he's like, 2 planes have crashed in the World Trade Center. They're both passenger airliners. It looks like terrorism. Someone did it on purpose. He said, I'm going to put the radio on. And that was the first I had heard it. There was a woman talking on the radio saying, I'm down at the World Trade Center, and both planes, and she stopped. And I just hear a roar and screaming. She was like, hold on. I felt my entire body tense up. They're like, it seems that there's been a collapse. And all I could see in my head was that tower falling north directly onto my house. And every single person in my class turned to look at me because I was the only person in there that lived downtown. I called my house. It kept ringing and ringing and ringing. But my dad was there and everything was okay. The house, it didn't fall on the house. It didn't fall on our apartment building. And I just hear him go, oh my God, Rita, we're sending Aunt Dee Dee to come get you. They're not going to let you down here if you don't get down here soon. I remember we came down to Greenwich Village, and that was the first time I saw the smoke. And I couldn't believe how big and dark the cloud was, and the sky was so blue behind it. I just went upstairs to my house and wanted to see what it was going to look like off a terrace. Having seen the World Trade Center outside my window for 16 years of my life, I went upstairs and my dad just told me, he's like, they're both gone. I think the worst part was looking at the news and then looking outside and seeing right outside my window.
I'm Diane DeFontis. I was on the 89th floor of the World Trade Center on September 11th, and I am a survivor. And I remember what an absolutely beautiful day it was. The sky was this beautiful blue. There were very few clouds. When I got into my office, I took one last look out the window and then went to my desk. Then all of a sudden, this bang happened. The bang and being thrown out of my chair and having the door partially open, it all happened at the same time. And not only that, but the conference room that was on my left, the ceiling fell down and hit the table and cracked the conference room table. So all this noise happened at once. I'm getting up. The people from MetLife came across, and some of them had blackened faces. They said, a plane hit the building. We watched it. We saw it hit the building, and our office exploded. I said, oh, my God. So when they told me that, I said, all right, let me make another phone call. I called one of my dearest friend, and I asked her, turn on the TV and let me know what's happening. And she said when they showed the building on TV, she said she was trying to count the floors to see where it hit, but she just couldn't do it. All I remember is that yellow helmet, a flashlight, and him standing at the front door and saying, we have to go now. It was Pablo Ortiz. He got us all together. We made a turn and went directly down the hallway. But further down the hallway, at the very last door, was another exit. And he and Mr. DiMartini had broken through that door because when the plane hit the building, it buckled all of the frameworks from the doors and nobody could open doors. I'm so grateful that somebody came to that floor, because even if we had gone to that exit, we wouldn't have been able to get out because it was stuck. One of the scariest things was when, I don't remember what floor we were on, but water started coming down the stairs. And it was like a waterfall. And then Tirsa took out her keychain, and it had a little light on it. And I said, oh, wow, I have a flashlight in my pocketbook. Too many things were going on, and I couldn't think. And then I finally found it, and I held it up, and people in back, they said, thank you. But I had to turn the corner, and there was no more light for them. But I remember the worst time was when the other building went down. The lights flickered. This tremendous roar, and the stairway shook, and we're holding on to the banister, and the building is shaking, and no one said a word. It was silence until the noise had stopped, and that's when we were very afraid. I actually started to cry when we're almost out of the building. We're almost downstairs to the main floor. Tirsa and Raphael went down and disappeared. People in back of me went up and disappeared. I'm standing in this little place, and I'm by myself, and I don't know if I should run upstairs or run downstairs. And I started to cry because I didn't know what to do. And then someone who was above me said, come up this way, come this way. And I ran up the flight of stairs to meet him. I didn't want to go upstairs because, my heart's telling me that if you're going upstairs, you're going up and you're further away from the exit. But I was wrong. When I walked through that exit to the outside, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I realized what a mess I was when I finally saw myself, because when I walked past a store and I turned around and I looked, I didn't recognize myself because my hair was white, my pants were black to the knee, my face was covered with ash. I didn't recognize myself.
I got up very early that morning because I was coming back from Europe and I was still jet lagged. I went straight to the World Trade Center. Then I went up the elevator to the 47th floor, went to my office, and I still remember it very clearly. Very little people have heard the sound of plane engines when they're at full strength, full force, flying up in the sky. It's one sound that comes back to me and haunt me on occasions. And then the hit. The building swung for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. We were used to the building swinging, of course, because of, when it was on a stormy day. I was not panicked whatsoever. I was unaware of what's going on. There was no alarm, no call to evacuate the building. And suddenly I felt the urge to go. And I dropped everything and left. It took me 50 minutes to come down from the 47th floor because I left about 15 minutes after the attack. I exited onto the sidewalk that was on Church. I turned around and looked, and I saw the World Trade Center in flames. And those flames were very, very dark orange. They were smoke was very, very black against this beautiful sky, and they were big. Suddenly, darkness fell upon us with an unbelievable violence. I looked around a second time. I didn't see the tower. Instead, I heard a sound that today I cannot remember. It was so powerful, such a huge sound that I blocked it. It scared me to death, and I cannot bring it back up to consciousness. And when I said darkness, what was a beautiful day became darker than night. You couldn't see anymore. Even more striking, there was no more sound. Sound didn't go through anymore because the air was so thick that it wasn't vibrating anymore. So after this unbelievable sound of the building collapsing, everything in a few seconds turned to be darker than night with no sound, and you couldn't breathe. I was convinced I was dead because it's so big that your brain cannot process something like this.
We're moving some people, be advised, moving some people to, we're setting up an ad hoc emergency post with EMS personnel, okay? We could use more people because the place is filling up with injuries.
We're going in there, bro, get out!
Mike, pick up, Mike.
Stay on left. On the last one. There's nobody up on 23? No, they evacuated everybody down. All right, they're probably going to the bus. Thanks. Yeah. Pretty clear at one point, and then this whole bunch of smoke and glass, and I think we're just about the last ones in this building right now. I think you should leave. Everybody else is gone. Okay. I'll just make sure that there's nobody else coming downstairs. I hear the top of the building fell down. Fell over on us. I don't know. I haven't even seen outside yet.
My name is Bob Gray. I'm currently serving as a battalion chief in Arlington County Fire Department. On September 11th, I was serving as a captain at the technical rescue station. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but we heard that there was a plane that went down, in the area of Crystal City. That's our jurisdiction. That's just beside the Pentagon. By the time we reached Arlington, we were very clear that there had been a plane that had gone into the Pentagon. We're thinking, if this was intentional, what else could be going on? We got our stuff, took a fire truck over to Station 1, and when we rolled up, there was already several armed guards covering that fire station. Shortly after, they deployed my group into the Pentagon. I still remember we got off the bus with our gear and walked up to the front of the building after we had received our assignment. It was just unbelievable. And my thought was this just feels so evil, that somebody has done this, and they did it with a loaded plane. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It was just, overwhelming. Our job was to find survivors. And it was obvious on the first floor, once we got all the way to where the plane had hit, that there weren't any survivors in that general area. It was really remarkable because you'd be on the second floor and you'd find a room that was absolutely pristine, more on the third floor than the second, but a room that hadn't been touched, that's surrounded by complete destruction. The ductwork down on the floors, the file cabinets completely ripped apart, and then one room where there's not even but a light layer of smoke on the wall, flags hanging, magazines sitting on the desk. I guess it was how the gas vented through the buildings under pressure and then blew certain areas up and preserved others. So, you just knew, I think we knew intuitively that within the first half hour that we weren't going to find anybody alive. But, you want to be as diligent as you can and just keep searching. I didn't leave the scene until about 12:30 that night. The first couple days, we might only shore a couple to 3 columns a shift because debris had to all be processed. We had a pile of debris that was airplane parts. There's a lot of things that had some green primer on them, and then all the honeycomb type stuff that's inside the structural sections of the wings. You knew that was an airplane. When it was all said and done, I think there was like 6 tractor trailer loads of just airplane parts. And then you had building parts, they went into a different pile. The goal was to get the building completely shored up. And at the same time, an equal goal and parallel goal was to get the bodies and to get the remains and to get the personal possessions of the people from the building. And we were able to do all that at the same time because, the debris was in some places 7 feet high up against the columns that we had to shore. At the very end, we set up a closing ceremony for the technical rescue team. We got a flag from our uniform section, nailed it up on a 4x8 piece of plywood, put the name of the team, called everybody back that was with TRT. I know there was over 40 for Arlington, and I don't know how many for Alexandria, probably another 20. And everybody got together. I said a couple words. We had requested one of the clergy from the MDW come over, and he said a prayer, and then we all went over and paid our respects, and it kind of closed the incident out for us.